that Jetstar has made a mistake. They've made a mistake with their cabin configurations, specifically with their Dreamliner 787-8s. The problem is because the Dreamliners are too full. Let me explain. Hey gang, it's me Nick here from Aviation Station, and it's been a while since I've been live here on the camera, so see this is a more sort of casual sit down and a little bit of a chat where we're also going to be talking about some of the things in the world of aviation that have just crossed my mind and have just been happening since I've been traveling around. So one of the things that's really interesting is that I was once on a flight coming back from Qatar, and sitting next to me happened to be a Jetstar pilot. And now what's fascinating about this is that he's probably watching this right now and freaking out, but there's no way, I'm not going to mention who it was or how it connected, but he did have a very interesting complaint that is something that I haven't realized, that Jetstar has made a mistake. They've made a mistake with their cabin configurations, specifically with their Dreamliner 787-8s. You see, Jetstar, being a low-cost carrier in Australia, is all about trying to pack as many people as possible on board planes and take them off to destinations in Southeast Asia as well as around Asia Pacific. So you can imagine the 787 Dreamliners are flying to places like Thailand, Bali, maybe going up to China, across to Japan for the ski season, over to America, Hawaii, Los Angeles, and then over to New Zealand, getting all of these people to have brilliant fares as quickly as they can go. However, that's not happening. And in fact, Jetstar is now having to almost heavily rely on their smaller Airbus A321LR long-range fleet rather than their more expensive Dreamliners. And the problem is because the Dreamliners are too full. Let me explain. The average Dreamliner plane that you would not typically fly on board would have around 242 seats. This is the 787-8 version. Now, if it was all one class, it would push that maybe around sort of 300 if it was all economy, but generally most of the time it's 218 economy seats. Now, Jetstar, what they've done is the previous Jetstar CEO decided to pack as many people as they possibly could on board one of their Jetstar planes. So, well, their entire fleet. So they reconfigured it to have 21 recliner seats and 314 economy seats. Now, this of course does mean that there's more seating, and you would perhaps imagine that this would mean cheaper fares for everybody on board, but this is not the case really. The economy of scale doesn't work like this because they just charge more and have made more profit. But now these planes are too heavy. So these 787 Dreamliners are now so heavy that they're unable to fly the longer distance routes that they used to be able to do. Originally, they were flying these 787s to, Hawaii and beyond and up to Japan and such locations as that. But now they've had to restrict these. They still do fly to Hawaii, but that's as far away as these Dreamliners can fly. Now, these Dreamliner planes are low-key amazing. Qantas used one of their Dreamliners to fly from London to Sydney. So they know that they have the capacity to fly nearly all the way around the world non-stop, especially if you reduce the number of passengers. But because they've decided to pack so many people on board into these planes, especially in economy, with a seat pitch of 30 inches, so you can imagine this is a very cozy flight, a very cozy plane, they've now had to restrict the routes that this can fly. And this is a terrible business decision, because now you've got this airline that's promising low fares almost around the world, unable to really fly anywhere. And the airline also has all these Airbus A321s, especially the long range coming in, that can now fly further. And this is a really weird situation to be in, where the bigger capacity aeroplane is actually flying shorter routes, and they're running out of places to to go. You're going to start to see Jetstar struggling to find locations to deploy these 787s, and it wouldn't surprise me if they relocate some of this fleet to perhaps their subsidiary airlines, because Jetstar of course has Jetstar Asia, they have one in New Zealand as well, although the New Zealand one can only really fly to Australia in terms of range, so it's a bit of an issue. And it's because of these reasons that there is a lot of sort of disgruntled team members of Jetstar who look back at the last CEO who enacted this decision and start to worry about the long-term ramifications of trying to pack so many people into such a small plane. And of course, the business class cabin on board these planes was also further restricted. They're just recliner seats on board Jetstar. They're not actually the sort of flat-laid beds that you would get on board a standard Dreamliner plane. So this is definitely one of those scenarios where sort of more people isn't always better, and it's something that I want to ask you, watching in the comments today, what do you think? Do you think that the Jetstar has made a mistake with this plane, that they shouldn't be trying to pack so many people, but they're not going to be able to quickly turn these back around and reduce the capacity? Where should they fly these Dreamliners to? And how does that fit into their relationship with the Airbus A321 long range that they're getting these planes now? In fact, I know next week I'm flying to Bali on board the new Airbus A321LR, which is a Jetstar plane. Normally this route to Bali was flown by the 787, but now they're using the smaller and longer range version Airbus instead of their larger capacity plane. Isn't that a little bit of a suspicion? Isn't that a little bit crazy? And so I do wonder what exactly the future of this plane will be, and I want to know again in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching.